Mike McIntyre, in fact, is joining us live this morning, of course, from Matchpoint Canada. Hey, Mike, good to talk to you this morning. Always enjoy talking a little tennis with you. Milos Raonic retiring from tennis. We haven't really seen him in the last sort of 18 months or so, but what kind of an impact do you think he's ultimately going to be seen to have on Canadian tennis?
Well, this is a guy, Nick and Jen, who really put Canada on the map in terms of what we could do in the tennis world. Before he came along, we didn't have players, male or female, that were really contending for the biggest titles in the sport. And as you mentioned, he made the finals of Wimbledon 2016. Hard to believe that was already 10 years ago. He had one of the best serves we've ever seen in the sport. And he inspired other Canadian athletes like Felix Auger-Aliassime and Denis Shapovalov to believe that, hey, Canadians can do this. They can compete at the highest levels. They can win and compete for the biggest titles in the sport. And they wanted to follow in his footsteps, and he gave them that belief. So Milos was, in his own right, a terrific player. Top 10, he peaked at number 3 in the world rankings, which is just fantastic. Over 20 million in prize money, and just a class act on and off the courts who won the respect of his fellow competitors, both Canadian and otherwise. Everybody had good things to say about Milos Raonic, including those of us in the press who've been fortunate enough to cover him for the last 15 or so years.
Yeah, that's quite an incredible career. He won 8 ATP Tour titles. When you compare his career to other Canadians in tennis, whether in the past or today, kind of where does he fit in that scale of relativity in terms of, how good he is?
Well, on the men's side, I'd say he's the Canadian GOAT, the greatest of all time up until now. And we'll see what Felix and Dennis and others can do to try and raise the bar even higher. Obviously, on the women's side, we had Bianca Andreescu, who became the first Canadian to win a singles Grand Slam at the U.S. Open back in 2019. And she followed in the footsteps of Jeannie Bouchard, who coincidentally also retired in the last few months. But Jeannie and Milos were really like the king and queen of Canadian tennis. And without them, the sport would not nearly have come as far as it did. And that serve, I can't say enough about just what a weapon that was and how that revolutionized, the game on the men's side of things. And I felt bad for any fans sitting behind his opponents who weren't paying attention, because if you got one of those serves to the head, that's a mark you'd be feeling for a while. Yeah,
that serve was ridiculous, no doubt about that. And I certainly don't want to take anything away from Milos, Mike. You just went through his impressive resume, but it always seemed like there was maybe another gear that wasn't there. Injuries seemed to be a problem there. Like, what would you say about that side of his game, that there was always this hope? Like, McEnroe crowned him like the next big thing. Never won a slam. Again, not knocking anything he ever accomplished, but just talk about that side of Milos, sort of untapped potential almost.
Yeah, he made 23 ATP tournament finals, which is incredible, 8 of them being trophies, as Jen mentioned earlier. But I think 2 things that kind of held him back from achieving more. One was the fact that he played during the era of Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, and Novak Djokovic, who pretty much denied everybody winning major titles. So that was one big hurdle. And then the other was, as you mentioned, Nick, the injuries, from his wrist to his back to his knees to his ankles. You could list almost every body part, and at some point it's kept him on the shelf. So that was probably the biggest thing that held him back from achieving more, unfortunately.
Okay, well, what a career. Mike McIntyre, host of Matchpoint Canada podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. Always a pleasure, and Happy New Year.
And Mike, we're going to be talking to Mike soon about the Aussie Open, which of course kicks off this coming weekend. So Mike, we'll look forward to talking more tennis with you very soon.